mean, on. Oh, click the light up on top.
Where did I do that? The switch on top.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. We are blinded.
Now we're blind, but now you can see us. How about that?
Wow.
So can you read the comments from there?
Let me.
No prayer of me reading those.
Like, hey guys, how you doing? I don't know what you're
Yeah,
saying.
I have no idea what you're saying, but she's going to handle that.
Yes, I am. I guess I am. Go ahead and welcome everybody, my love.
All right, guys, thank you for tuning in on this Tuesday morning. We are 9:30 Pacific, 11:30 Central, 12:30 Eastern. I'm just going to tell you the times all around the world. But yeah, guys, so we are on a West Coast road trip. Thank our sponsors, CampbellCars.com, for that amazing 2020 Dodge Laramie. It has really, it has saved our life.
It really has.
We really did go on an adventure. What was it, Saturday, coming out of Flagstaff, hit a snowstorm, went over like some pig trail through the mountains and almost died. So thank you for the Dodge Laramie. It is awesome.
Yes.
Chris Gammo for all of your mortgage, refinancing, home loan needs. If you're in Colorado, Arizona, or California, that is your dude. Do you
Not Nevada?
I don't think it's Nevada.
Dang, that's where we are right
Yeah. So, but he said he can.
Actually, you're in Arizona.
Yeah, we are in Arizona.
When did that happen?
We crossed last.
About 2 miles.
Yeah,
ago.
right down the
3
road.
miles
Oh.
down.
Yeah. So technically, if you're here,
We're in Arizona.
you can contact Chris Gammo. He is going to be opening up different states, and he'll be able to, do mortgages and stuff. But he takes you through the process. Awesome job. But yeah, so those are the sponsors who help make this trip happen. As always, Primal Beef Jerky. Feedonprimal.com/monster for some amazing beef jerky.
Can you turn on our
Our view, because I'm just talking now because I forgot what we're talking about.
No, guys, we didn't.
We are at Bob Brown's house, just
Yes.
outside of Mesquite, Nevada. Like he said, we are just crossed over to Arizona. Gonna do some amazing razor side-by-side riding today. What are we doing? What's on the agenda?
We're going to jump in a 4-seater Razor that I got, and we're going to head up into the mountains. And
I'm so excited about that.
I'm going to try to do my best to scare the crap out of these guys.
Uh-oh, Rebecca no longer wants to go. So right up until that, she was very excited. Now
I may be standing in the middle just
Yeah.
videoing if that's okay.
We're gonna head up to a Formica mine, which when you look
Whoa.
at it, it looks like gold, but it's actually Formica. It's really cool looking, actually.
That is
It's
awesome.
awesome. And then drive through the mountains and just have some fun and make.
We've had an amazing trip so far, but Rebecca said just a little bit ago, this is the part she loves the most, just to get to chill and relax with. I mean, arm wrestling is just, it's a big family. We're just
Absolutely.
hanging out with arm wrestlers, and throughout the career of this sport, you just become family. It's not just a friends thing. I mean, if you come to Arkansas and you don't contact me, I'm going to be mad at you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's just how it works. What do you got, baby?
Paul Messing, thank you so much for the super chat. Wants us to do a day in the life of feeding a monster video. We will do that. It's kind of
Man.
hard to do it on this trip because, frankly,
I don't eat.
he's not getting fed well.
I'm an Ethiopian.
Okay,
I know
but
these arms don't say that, but I'm an Ethiopian, guys.
yeah. Now, last night we got fed well right here
Yes,
in
we
Bob
did.
Brown's house. So took
Yep.
care of us. And when we finished eating what he had gotten for us, he went into his fridge and brought out more food.
Brought more food.
For the monster.
Yeah.
So he actually filled that hollow leg, I think, last night. Did you
Yes.
go to bed full?
I went. Yes, I
Thank
went to bed. I went to bed
goodness
satisfied for
that. Mean Machine, thank you so much for the super chat. So also, someone just mentioned a while ago that for better lighting, we could sit where we're facing the window. That's how we were originally, but this guy's like, they might want to see the mountains, and I don't think you can see them.
I don't
think
know
the
if you can see the
overcast is there,
mountains.
but when I got up this morning and I looked out there, I was like, wow,
Oh, it's so beautiful.
that is spectacular.
It is so beautiful. So it'd be funny if we all just kind of like shifted away, to actually move it. But I think
All
the
right.
good thing is that you could see us, and that's really all that matters. And can you hear us? We have a mic attached, but the phone is moved way back there because this is way too much muscle on either side of me.
You see Bob getting that
Because of
angle on
me.
me? You
To
see Bob getting
crunch
that
it
angle
in.
on me though?
I got a huge angle on it.
He does. But we have got so much to chat with you guys about today. And the funny thing is that it just keeps going away. So
All
we've
right.
talked about our trip. Now, what we have coming up tomorrow,
I'm excited. So I don't know.
scared.
She's a little scared. So
I'm excited.
What I do
I'm very excited.
I'm scared.
well, tonight is our Giordano.
Oh, it's on.
Tonight's
Yeah.
our Giordano's.
It's on.
Tomorrow, I am going to Machine Gun Vegas and getting to have their fully automatic machine gun experience.
Oh, that's cool.
Dude,
seriously,
let me tell you what
that's
I've been doing with
I'm
this whole
scared.
social media
Okay, I've shot a gun.
influencer or whatever.
I've shot a gun one time in my life, and it was a long one. Other than that, I don't know what it was, and it hurt. So the main thing for me is I don't want to hurt. Okay, so
Machine gun's fun.
Yeah.
I'm terrified.
I'm so because what I do is I just reach out to people and I tell them who I am. I'm like, hey, how do you feel about us coming in and shooting some content? And they were all about it, so I'm super excited. That's going to be fun. Awesome. I've got a surprise. Should I go ahead and tell them about the collab we're doing Thursday?
No.
Okay.
We'll show them.
We will. Well, she's the boss.
Monsters in search of a little crack, maybe, huh?
A little crack.
Okay, I won't go to that. I'll watch the content.
Yeah, but anyways, we are super excited about that. And then going on through, we're going to be stopping in Albuquerque, and then go all the way through to Shreveport.
Are we going to tell them about that too?
Nah, you guys will see that too. That's gonna be
Shreveport
exciting
will
times.
technically be our final destination prior to going back to Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Look forward to a live. If you have not subscribed and click your bell for notifications, do so now because you don't want to miss the live.
You do not want to miss the live this Friday night.
Friday night. Yeah, be sure that you've done
There's
that.
a special guest that is relatively funny.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we may not be able to talk the entire live.
We may not get a word in.
But you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
We may not. Okay.
We may not.
I look forward to that one.
So anyhow, you might be wondering why Bob Brown. Well, if you've been over to Ryan's channel, you know why Bob Brown. Bob, tell us why do we?
I'm gonna tell you why Bob Brown, because he lives in Mesquite and I was gonna be in Nevada and he said I could come ride razors.
Okay, so that is why Bob Brown. But why are we doing the live with Bob today? Bob, what is your history with WAL, WAF, all of those things?
Well, we're talking about the rules and stuff, and so when the WAL was originally formed, there was about 5 of us that were coming together with the rules, and we all said, okay, this is what we want the rules to be. We need to get this articulated. Bob, go write the rules. So I had to come up with the written rules that would articulate what they wanted. Specifically, the big change was going to be the running fouls. And how do we articulate the running fouls in a rule book, in words? And so I ended up writing the rules for the WAL. They've changed since I originally wrote them, but I'm the guy who wrote those rules. The WAF, those rules were originally written by Rick Pinckney up in Canada, but you know, over the years they made a couple of modifications and they just weren't very organized. And so they'd have the fouls up here, the warnings down here, the slips over here. It was very difficult to read them. So I rewrote the entire set of rules. And when I rewrote them, there you go. And then you can probably twist them. The same handle. It's the same handle.
I figured it would be the same twister.
Yeah, and it's kind of a busted handle, so there you go.
Check us out.
Look at us. We figured out how to make a studio set. And so I rewrote the rules. Leonard Harkless is the head ref. We've collaborated and discussed. I know the rules. And so they wanted to talk about the rules after Mr. Bowen's. He kind of interpreted things a little bit incorrectly. He was interpreting them at the WAF level, and you cannot apply them.
The new WAF level, though, right? Or was that the WAF? Because that wasn't the rule previously in the WAF.
It is.
Because it was never humorous. It was shoulder below. It might have been intended on humorous, right?
So you're right. The words say shoulder below. Mm-hmm. But the way that Leonard Harkless, head ref of the WAF for I don't know how many years, the way he would train his referees would say, look at the humorous bone. I don't know why they just didn't change the words to that.
Right.
It would have been better, but that's not what they did. That rule does not apply to the WAL. Now, ironically, I just spoke with the head ref of the WAL, and in their rules it says shoulder below the table. And when they say shoulder below the table, they're looking at the entire shoulder going below the table.
All this meat.
Yes.
No, right arm, baby.
That's a bigger meat. Yes. So, in the WAL, someone like Michael could drop way lower than, say, in the WAF and still be completely within the rules. Whether that rule gets changed or not, there's some discussion about that. We'll see what happens in the future.
But what does Michael do when rules change?
He changes.
He adapts. So I've got this, baby.
Sorry.
It's right here.
Hey.
I've got this.
She's
I've got
killing
this.
it. She is killing
Okay.
it.
I want to take this moment to give a shout out to DCS Beamer. Thank you so much for the super chat. Is there already something like a TV match official in arm wrestling? Kind of like a slow-mo replay when a wrestler disputes a decision. It depends on the league.
PAL has that. Cameras set on the table, which we'll get the camera angle here in a minute. So you can tell whether it's a pin or whatever. Now, they did do some shady shit against me in Pushcar.
They did some
I'm going to go ahead and talk
shady
about that
shit.
one. So we went back to review it because I knew I wasn't pinned in round 2. And the referee holds up a piece of paper to show the line, and he turns the paper like this. I'm like, look, I'm like, dude, straighten up the paper.
If you're holding a paper to prove that there was a pin, it needs to be
Straight.
straight. And he literally goes like this in front of us. And I'm going to call him out. Reza, come on.
Oh, was it Reza that did it?
It was totally Reza. and then the funny part was the master bald ref behind him. He's like, well, I'm the master ref, so I'm going to call it. Well, you're an idiot. But anyways, okay.
Yeah, idiot.
He belongs to the PAL. You
But
keep
yeah, so
that.
it depends
Okay,
on
yeah.
the league. Arm Wars used to have they'd go to the eye in the sky, and you'd go back and replay it, and like, okay,
Which is
clearly
really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think you need that replay in arm wrestling.
And WAL
At this level.
started to do it, and I remember when they did it with the Todd Hutchins and Devin Lorette match, where unfortunately, yes, you heard me screaming and cursing in not such good manners, saying that he was pinned, and when they looked at the camera angle, they don't have the proper camera angle. They have the camera angle coming from high to see a pin, and you need to have it right at the
At
line.
level.
But they were using an instant replay per se. It was just they didn't have the proper camera angles to do a proper instant replay. I mean, they don't have to show it to the American people or the world, but they at least need it to make a proper call.
Right.
How they do.
But I do think showing it just is cool.
Oh, I think showing
I think
it is cool.
I think it adds to the excitement of the match,
Oh.
especially.
It's the total package.
Yeah, I really think so. I think it's, because it's just drama, right?
Right.
It's just great
all drama. I mean, you see in football, the forward pass, the guy caught it, and they called it inbounds, and then all the drama builds over. Was his foot bound? Wasn't inbound? They do the instant replay, and it's so close they just leave it the way it was on the field. Half the people are happy, half the people are pissed off. It creates drama.
Right.
Win-win.
Well, there you have it. There you have it. So I just want to rewind just a bit. What Bob was saying, and Ryan, we love you. You're doing great things, okay? But what Bob was saying is that the rule set in Ryan's analysis of 3 matches did not apply to any of those matches. Because the first one was in Zloty, but it was way back when, okay?
So it's like 2013, 14's live.
So there was still not, at that point when that match happened, Dennis could have dropped down, been told to stand up. If he stands up, no foul. Drop right back down, stand up, there's still no foul. Stop me if I'm wrong. He could have done that like a freaking seesaw as much as he wanted to, according to the rule sets at that time.
The original rule in WAF or whatever, or the PAL.
WAF and
was-
WAL, 2 different things.
Two different
okay.
If you drop below, you're commanded to stand up. If you stand up, no warning. You can drop below again. You can command to stand up.
Can keep going on
Now
and
they
on.
changed it to where you drop below, it's a warning. If you come back up, you drop back down again, it's a foul.
In the WAF, well, that's
or
not
IFA.
That's IFA.
That's IFA. The
WAF
WAF
hasn't changed yet,
has
have
not officially changed it, but I'm pretty sure they're going to change it. And here's where they made a mistake when they wrote the rule. In the rule, when you drop below in the WAF, the referee cautions you to get up. They wrote the word caution. If
So it's
they'd have
not a
wrote-
command.
No, they just caution you to get up. If you don't get up, then they can foul you. However, since that word is caution and not warning, that changes everything. Now you can go up, down, up, down, up, down. If they just simply changed the word to warning, you can only do it once because
Right.
any 2 warnings
Is a
is a
foul.
foul.
Correct.
So, hopefully, but it's going to get changed this year.
So then I want to go to WAL, jump to WAL, okay? The matches, again,
That Ryan was commenting on.
that Ryan was commenting on, that would have been from 503 and 504, correct?
Yes.
Okay, 503 and 504. Now, according to the WAL, at that time, and you've got to
Right.
remember, rules are always evolving. So it's irresponsible to apply rules of today to matches that even happened a few months ago if those rules have changed. It's kind of like the IRS going, hey, we closed a loophole, so we're going to go back and have a look at your 2007 taxes. Sorry. No, it doesn't work that way. So the rules that he was applying, again, were IFA rules. First of all, in WAL, there is no, if you foul, other than a slip, if you foul in a losing position, it's automatic loss. There is not that rule. That only applies to a slip.
Not in WAL.
Not in
no.
WAL.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, because they want to see a pin.
Right.
If you foul in a losing
100%.
position,
So-
you have to still get the pin to get. If you
Right.
foul in a losing position, the match continues because they're running fouls.
Right.
If you at that point get pinned, it's a loss. If you come back and win the match, you just get the restart.
Right. There is no, if your humerus looks like it's like this
Right.
in WAL, that is not a rule. It is the entire shoulder, as Bob said, the entire shoulder below
Yeah,
the
go
table.
below.
So at no point in that match was Michael in foul position.
Right. He wasn't
Even in
violent.
round 2, where I did get
You got
pushed to a king's.
Yeah.
I went to a king's move in round 2. Round 1 and round 3,
You didn't.
I didn't need to. Round 2, I was like, yeah, strap it however you want, whatever. Let me tell you a funny story about that. So about 15 minutes prior to that match, or maybe it was about a couple hours earlier, I'm telling Mike Celiaris, I have an offensive king's move, I have a defensive king's move. This is how you beat both of them. And about 15 minutes before the match, he goes, I just want to let you know I'm in David's corner. I'm like,
that really
I'm
happened.
like, what do you mean you're in Dave's corner? I just told you how to beat me. So in round 2, he's like, Dave, do this, do this, do this. And I was on the other side. I didn't have the buckle, which meant I didn't get the tight strap that I wanted. And I was kind of carefree about it because I did win round 1 pretty convincingly.
Yeah. And
Round 2 did not work out quite as well, but I
This
did
is
get
the
the win.
Dave Chafee match
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
referring to. So here's what I've learned in the last 12 hours. These guys, amazing memories. Mine, not so much. But I will tell you that I told him I was most impressed when he pulled Dave Chafee, because the only thing I remember about the Dave Chafee match, honestly, is he took Dave's hand in the center of the table. He didn't take Dave's hand down here. He took Dave's hand in the center of the table. That impressed me more than anything, and that was a distinguishing feature, because there's no king's move to take Dave's hand in the center of the table. That just requires an unbelievable pronator, because there ain't too many people on the planet that can take Dave's hand.
It was also the riser. The improved riser
Right.
allowed me to control the height of the match.
Right.
So in the center, when we both attacked, it was my riser and my pronation that nullified his ability to engage his cup.
Gotcha.
You know, so and that was my entire objective, because I know Dave and Levon and those power type arm wrestlers, once they get from straight to cup, my God, they're almost impossible to beat. You just got to deny them that.
Yes.
So I denied Dave his cup by a superior riser and pronation. And that's the whole thing. People talk about, well, last time you pulled Devin, your shoulder this, your shoulder that, Kings with this, Kings with that. I mean, yeah, that was 2018. If you did not watch 2019 season, I beat both Dave and Jerry with no Kings move,
Right.
with control, with,
Yep.
pronation, riser, everything. So those, I mean, it's not that I'm not sitting there saying I won't use a King's move to win. I will do whatever it takes within the rules to win.
Yep.
and not care at all.
No,
Okay,
because
we don't
at
care.
the end of the day, that hammer's on my shelf at home, or that trophy or whatever it is. I'm just saying I am evolving into
Right.
a more
If the rules
Yeah.
change, you'll evolve.
Yeah, and the thing is, I like if you saw the recent practice with Derek, I've been focused a lot on attacking, and a lot of the single pulley art arm that I'm doing is allowing me to giving me more confidence to just go crazy on go,
Right.
And I like this. What's funny is in the conversation, it was like, well, if you stop Michael, then you still have to deal with his defense.
Right.
When the hell have you ever heard him say, well, if you stop Michael? It's always, if Michael stops you, then you're in a war, right? So I always have that ace.
Yes.
I just want to get people out of the way early so I don't have to worry about it. Well, Dave and I were just talking about it. I mean, not Dave, Bob and I were just talking about it, that in the Devin match, he is someone who is equally as complete of an arm wrestler as I am, with equal endurance. And when I say equal, marginal difference. Marginal
Right.
arm wrestling differences in the ability to transition to everything else. Although I still believe I win that war why be in the war? You know, if I can avoid that match stopping and that becoming that chess match on the table,
That's the best way to go.
absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to get to this real quickly.
Right.
Reynald, is the ref obligated to always, thank you so much for the super chat, is the ref
Appreciate it.
obligated to always give a warning first before giving a foul, or can he give a foul right away? Again, this is the guy to talk to. He actually writes the rules.
Right. So,
Bam.
okay. In the WAF, the referee is, when you go into the king's move, and again, in the WAF, what the refs look for is that humerus bone at a downward angle towards your shoulder.
WAF.
WAF. And that's what they're looking for.
What is that? How it's written?
That's not how it's written.
Okay,
The way it's written is shoulder below the elbow pad. But that's what they look for. If they see it, the ref is required to caution them to stand up. And if they don't stand up immediately, then they get a foul. However, if they're cautioned to stand up, and they do stand up, and then they go back down, they're just cautioned to stand back up again. Stand back up, go back down, stand back up. Go, they can do it all day long. That's how it currently is. My understanding is they're going to change it to be an actual warning instead of just a caution. And when they change it to a warning, you'll only be able to go down once. They will warn you, you come back up. If you go down a second time, it's a second warning. In the WAF, 2 warnings is a foul. So you'll get a foul. That'll solve a lot of problems. In the WAL, if you drop into the king's move, they are supposed to warn you to come up. And if they don't, well, then the refs made a mistake.
Actually, they changed that for 503, and I actually have that on video. When I said you have to be able to apply rules as they evolve,
But that only applied to 503.
503.
They changed it at 504.
504, Devin was allowed to do
Right.
whatever he wanted. But in
Yeah.
503, before Michael pulled Dave, the rule changed to your entire shoulder again. It's not the top, it's not the armpit, it's not the humerus. Your entire shoulder may not drop below the table, not the pad, below the table unless you're in a pinning position. And if you do, it's an automatic foul. Okay? So,
Still doesn't stop the match because it's a running foul.
Because it's a
not
running
much.
foul.
right. So, and that's not an automatic loss, it's a foul. So, looking at it like that, again, Michael was never in foul territory. You didn't
Right.
see all of this meat go below the table at any point.
And so to answer the question, the referee does not have the discretion just to negate the warning and immediately call a foul.
No.
They have to give a warning or a caution first.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
But yeah, so you got one
Now,
more.
with all this being said, I know for a fact that both the WAL and the WAF are going to be considering rule changes this year. So this argument's going to go on again.
Right, there you go.
But again, you just have to adapt
Well-
to the current rule set.
At 406, the rule was you couldn't have your shoulder below in a negative or losing position. It wasn't
when Michael
neutral.
pulled Devin,
it was
it was
negative.
different.
So all the times that I'm below or close below or whatever,
It
I'm
was
in a
within that
neutral or
rule
offensive position. And I'm always, it wasn't never really neutral because I always had his wrist.
Right.
So his wrist was always compromised, so I was always in technically a winning position, you know.
Well, when talking about, according to the rules though, hand position is irrelevant. It doesn't matter if you have control of the hand. They look at the arm and is the arm at the starting position or down?
Right.
Is basically what they're looking at.
So I want to read this really quickly. James Belch, thank you so much for the
Thank you,
super
James.
chat. Idea for spectator-friendly pay-per-view. This is interesting. You got a mind, guy. Put on glasses with the camera or wearables so we can see what you're seeing. Wearables that track blood pressure, heart rate, etc., and overhead camera. That is like a huge production that is above the
So
level of
it-
this production. Okay. Just saying.
So do I have glasses or do I have like cool goggles? Like, am I like some?
Well, you know, the
Does that mean-
WAL,
I like
didn't the
that.
WAL have heart rate monitors?
That was
on
like
people at one
before
point?
me. That
In
was
the
like
beginning?
15,
Yeah.
16 was on E
Like,
ESPN.
They could put heart rate monitors on. That's not too terribly expensive anymore. I mean,
Okay.
you know, I think to achieve what he wants might not be too expensive.
No, I like
Okay,
it.
and this is a common misunderstanding as well, Bob Evans. But the King's Move doesn't exist in PAL. That is incorrect. When people say you cannot use the King's Move with PAL, or you cannot use the King's Move with, in Europe or whatever, they're misinterpreting that entirely,
How long
because
has
Bob
Pascal
just
Gerard done it? You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Bob just went over WAF and IFA rules.
Right. You can use the King's Move. I guess you need to clarify what you're talking about in the King's Move.
Yes.
In all organizations, you can use the King's Move. You just need to keep your shoulder above whatever their rule says to keep it above. Then
Got
it's
parameters.
Yeah, then it's basically it's an open top roll is what it is. People still call it the King's Move sometimes. Anytime someone's out like this, they call it the King's Move, and it's really just an open top roll. So yes, you can do that. I've never seen a league that you cannot do it as long as your shoulder is above whatever height their rules say to be above.
A lot of the argument is, oh, well, Michael Owen was only good at the WAL because of the elbow pads and this and that. Dude, I didn't create the rules.
Right.
I didn't create the pads. I was 3 years later coming over to the league because I was a UAL champ, right?
Right.
So I had no idea I've arm wrestled for 31 years, and for 3 of those I've done on a 7x9 pad.
Right.
7x9, and 28 I've done on a 7x7. So, and I've beaten every top guy that existed, whether it's push car, some Flinkoff, whatever, under PAL rules.
Okay, so let me ask you, because you just brought up the 7x9.
Mm-hmm.
There is at least discussion about, they moved
Moving
the
an inch
elbow
forward,
pad back.
2 inches.
They added an inch to the back. There's at least discussion about adding an inch to the front, which in my
Well,
opinion...
the discussion is just moving the pad an inch forward. It's still a 7x9. So instead of a 7x7 square, they just made a 7x9 and added 2 inches to the rear. All they're talking about doing is moving it. It's still a 7x9, but just moving it an inch forward.
Okay.
So it just gives you 7x9, but it's an extra inch forward and 1 inch back from a 7x7.
Either way, in my opinion, that's going to make for better matches.
It has to.
It'll absolutely make
Especially
for better
like
matches.
me and Jerry. Because it's
Oh,
going
you and
to give him another inch coming
Oh,
forward.
that's good. That could change the match between you and Jerry.
But it never has in the past. See, 7x7s, the only time I've struggled with Jerry, and this is what's so funny, is the 2 matches we've had in the WAL. When I say struggle, as in taking any losses on 7x9 pads. 7x7s, in the last decade, I'm 4-0 against him. Haven't lost a single round.
I think like you, he's adapting. I mean, he's adapting how to pull you like you adapt.
Well, he's
how to
adapting
pull
to
him.
the fact that they won't call the elbow foul when his elbow's sitting on the money.
Well,
That's what he's adapting
and
to.
that's
you know
why
what I'm
if they slide the elbow pad forward an inch,
he'd be
then
on the pad.
he's legit.
Yeah. But he's been living an inch in front of the pad the whole time
and
anyway.
he'll still go an inch in front of the pad. Right, exactly.
But yeah, so
I want to give a shout out to Tim Morgan. Thank you so much for the super chat. Always showing love and support when I can. Love what you and Rebecca have been doing.
Appreciate
for the
you,
brand.
Tim.
Thank you so much. Justin Krulik. Bob, great win on Roger. Who is your next victim? Thank you so much for
What's
the super chat.
up, Bob?
Well, so actually, I got challenged by Roger. It's kind of a funny story. I was at Dan Mosier's house with Craig Tillier for a birthday practice, and I weighed the heaviest I've ever weighed in my life. And I got challenged by Roger at 185. And I said, well, clearly you've not seen a picture of me lately. And then Roger didn't care what I weighed. He really didn't. So good. I mean, that's awesome. Anytime there's super matches, weight should be meaningless.
You're arm wrestling the person.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And so he challenged me, went to Kansas City. I did well. I'm happy about that. I have nothing coming up that I know of. If someone wants to challenge me, great. Or, if my wrist, I'll tell you who I want to pull, honestly. There's 2 guys I want to pull. If I can get my wrist to be solid again, I want to pull Tony Bishop. Because while I won the last match against him, there's unsettled business there. He lost on fouls. Neither one of us like that. And then I need to drag Hermes Paganini over here from Italy and beat him. And
Aren't you guys both WAF Masters champions?
we're both WAF Grandmasters.
Grandmasters, okay.
Which means we're both older than dirt.
But
we can still arm wrestle a little bit.
Right, there you go.
Shout out to Jeff Moses Jr. As strong as you are right now, do you have a rest period before your match with Devin? And so you can peak for the match. Was awesome meeting you in Boise.
Yes, so we got one more there.
Mean Machine Arm Wrestling. Thank you so much for the super chat.
Appreciate the super chat, guys.
Plug this in
Yeah,
really
so
quickly, give
where
it 10
I'm
minutes.
at currently is, I believe my level is pretty good right now. because I've been prepping since January for this match, which I initially thought was Levon. Now, I do intend on getting percentages stronger over the next 10 and a half weeks. And then I will take an entire week off and I'll do nothing. I won't arm wrestle 2 weeks out from the match. I won't weight train 1 week out. And we're actually, I believe, flying over to Dubai a week early just to do promotion and stuff for the match.
Cool.
So, yeah, I will definitely take some rest period. I will heal up everything. I will definitely be peaked. It'll be barring any type of injury, it'll be the strongest by a margin version of me that's ever existed.
Absolutely.
That'll be interesting.
I want to take a moment too to give a shout out to Bob's new arm wrestling page, Bob Brown Arm Wrestling. Be sure and go out there and request him to to be your friend, because he puts on great videos that goes into explanations of the rules. One of the best videos that he needs to redo, because it was on his other page, but he needs to redo, is camera angles and actually looking at the pin line or the fouls. Okay, a lot of times you guys sitting at home in your armchairs watching those and you're like, oh, that's an elbow foul, or that was a pin. Is that always correct, Bob?
No, it's not always correct. Camera angles can absolutely make things look like a pin that aren't a pin, or they can make things not look like a pin when they are in fact a pin. And I probably deleted it, but no, I'll redo that. I mean, and here's the thing, I get a lot of questions on my Facebook page now, and I'll be honest, I'm not a great typer. I don't like to answer long-winded questions. But if it's something that I think needs to be answered, I'll make a video about it. I'm better at that. I'm not good at long-winded answers. I don't type very well.
I noticed that last night. It's like, we will show up at 6:45, period. We would do
Yeah, I have to talk. I
was like, he is a pimp.
I gotta talk to text. I don't type.
I loved it. But then you go back and proofread it to make
I
sure
gotta proofread it.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
Because Siri doesn't always get it right.
No,
Sometimes she sends you on pig trails and
She
tries
will
to kill
send
you.
you on
Yes,
pig trails and try to kill you.
And I'm just noticing this because, this all live stuff is new to me. And I notice there's like over 700 people watching us right now.
Yeah.
And I have to believe 100% that it's because of me. Because
I do.
100%.
Yeah,
because
100%.
if it wasn't you, we'd have like 2,000.
Now I'm gonna ask the question, because these guys had a discussion before we went live, and I hate it when they do that. I mean, save all the good stuff
I
for
know.
the live and for you guys,
it's
right?
my bad.
So
it's just when you get around another arm wrestler, you just talk.
I'm gonna ask the question, because this is actually, I've seen it from several of you guys coming up in the feed. Now, first I want to show this. Bob, show us your right arm.
Range of motion.
Range of motion.
Oh, there. Boom, boom.
Okay, now Michael Todd, can you hop in front of there? Bob's arm actually has less range of motion.
Less this way. I have less this way.
Yeah, so we did this. If he puts his arm, we're gonna
Let me back up.
snuggle. Put your arm right next to mine, and now drop. And see, his is dropping a little. Is
Oh, you can see your
lower
hand
than
height, yeah.
mine. I'm higher than him, so mine's even worse.
Now the coming back is where is the biggest problem for me.
Yeah, I
It's
can
like,
come back.
I can't get any closer.
Yeah,
to that.
I can come back further than he can.
It's,
if we're like,
it's pretty significant as far
Yeah.
as the distance.
Okay, so this is a two-part question that I have for Bob to chime in, and Michael Todd, you can add your whatever as well, insight.
All right.
Number one, the first part is, Bob, how do you feel about the King's move? Do you feel like it's an illegal move? And the second part is, since you also have this bone lock, as Michael does, can you take the pain of actually being fully extended onto your lock?
Gotcha.
Go.
So, I think
He writes the rules.
Yeah, I think like every.
Just saying.
Well, now I'm going to talk about my opinion of the rules, not what is actually the rules. I think
Which
the King's
when
move.
some people are talking about opinion and the other person think they're talking about the rules,
You
you
get-
could have a Devin Laird Ingen situation.
Yes.
Guys,
I think that the King's move is totally a fair move. As long as, and if I was to write the rules complete, and they were the way I wanted them to be, I would write them as you cannot have a downward angle of your humerus bone towards your shoulder. I would watch the humerus bone, and that's how I would write the
can
rule.
I cut in real quick?
Sure.
You're only talking about the neutral to losing position.
Yes, yes, and only in a neutral and losing position. Because if you're in the winning position, you're top rolling and you're finishing a top roll. And then I would enforce the rule. That's the problem. Is this thing is grabbed attention, and you've got new arm wrestlers that are starting to arm wrestle with straight arms, and refs are not calling, a warning or a caution or a foul. If they would just call them, we wouldn't even be having this discussion anymore. But I would change the rule to say something like, if the humerus bone is at a downward angle towards the shoulder from the starting position down, that is an immediate foul. An immediate foul is the way I would do it.
At scholastic level? Or
At scholastic level arm wrestling. And what I refer to as scholastic level arm wrestling, no offense, is the WAF. Because
F.
it's F.
or
L.
slash
Because
IFA.
it's amateur arm wrestling. And the only reason I say amateur
He
is
feels
because
differently about WAL, by the way.
I do.
Yeah.
is WAF is amateur arm wrestling for the sole reason that you're not being paid. Just like the Olympics.
The level is still very, very high.
The level is the highest.
Yeah.
The Olympics, the level is the highest. They're just not being paid. So now in the WAL, I think it should be the same rule, except it should be a warning to stand back up first. And then if you go down again, then call a foul. So for specifically in a running foul system where you get 3 fouls, it could look like this. You go down, warning, come back up. Go down, foul, come back up. Go down, warning, come back up. Go down, foul. Now, of course,
Come back up, go down, warning.
Another
and
time.
then you still, and if you,
And
but
here's the
then
deal.
you
If
pin.
you've got the foul
Yeah.
and you pin someone, well, you got to start all over again because you were on a running foul. And to me, that just creates excitement and drama. It creates this group of people, 50% of them going, that's the greatest match I've ever seen, and 50% of them going, well, that was terrible. You create the drama, WAL is happy, and you get an exciting match. Some will hate it, some will love it.
We
That's
still
what
got
I
a
would
second
do.
part of that. What about the
Oh,
three? Did you
second
get
part.
3?
Yes,
Super
you,
chats?
okay, we'll get to the second part in just a second. I'm going to read these really
We
quick.
got
If
3
y'all
of you
wondering
guys
what I'm
that
doing.
hit-
I've got a
did super
phone that's
chat.
trying to die on me.
Well, we got the Mophie, but I
Honey,
don't think
you have
it's
a battery
charged.
to plug a phone in?
Oh, does she have one? Oh, sweet.
So,
Guess that's what we thought this was.
From Wild Frames, thank you so much for the super chat. Where shoulder line needs to be in all stages in one match? Pad line, table line, offense, defense. I think you actually just pretty much answered that.
Yeah, I don't think
thank
we
you for
should be
super chat.
like there's shoulder below the elbow pad, shoulder below the table. I don't think we should say that because shoulders are different sizes. I should say the humerus bone is the bone between the elbow and the shoulder. The humerus bone at a downward angle towards the shoulder. That's how I think the rule should read.
And do you hear what he said, though? Should.
Here you go.
They
Should
don't
read.
yet. Should. So you can't apply it to today.
To today.
All right.
It might change.
So thank you so much, Tim Morgan, for the super chat. Just wanted to send a little bit more, but I do have one question for Bob. Did Todd pin Devin round 1 at WL 501? I want to know what you think. We actually discussed this earlier.
Yes, hell yes, and yes.
There you go.
Well, he definitely did. There's one up here.
He pinned. What's funny is he pinned him with a bad camera angle. If it was, it was a pin. That's enough. It was a pin.
And from KLFER, I want my shot at the champ. Is what
I
he
live in
said.
Hot
Thank you,
Springs,
Melissa.
Arkansas. I'll be home Saturday.
Come on over.
Exactly.
And Mark Meyer, this is a question, and this is exactly why Bob wants it to apply to the scholastic level.
That was my dog.
I love the dog. I
Rogue's
love
making
her.
an
Rogue,
announcement.
you're awesome.
So, is the shoulder being below the table a break arm position foul? If so, do you believe it is treated differently than other break arm positions?
In the WAF rules, they do consider the shoulder below a dangerous position, and that's why it is treated like a traditional break arm position, and they just use the word caution to get you out of that position. And if you come out of the position, they're like, fine, just keep going, no problem. And if you go back into the position, they caution you to get out, and they say, fine, just keep going. In my opinion now, that's a mistake. It needs to just not be part of the dangerous rules section. It just needs to be its own standalone rule and say, if you go below, it's a foul. Just like if your elbow pops up, it's a foul. If your shoulder goes below, it's a foul. That's how, my opinion, it should be.
So the second part of that question earlier was, can you handle the pain of
Can you just hold people in your bone lock?
No.
What? You mean you have to be strong too, Bob?
It's
I don't understand.
Yes, I can tell you.
This makes no
that
sense.
It can be, yes. If someone has me out here and they can apply enough pressure, I just did a little, or I've been reading about that. Langton, Ryan Bowen's buddy down there in Australia.
Lachlan Adair.
Thank you, Lachlan. He was saying that bone locks don't exist. And it's true. It's not a bone that is creating this stoppage. It's a membrane encapsulating the elbow joint. That's the latest science tells us. And I've done a lot of study. But if you can push down hard enough on my arm, it is crazy freaking painful, and I'm going to stand up. Just like Michael. Just like when you pulled Berzink, and he was able to push you down. It was painful enough. He forced to stand up. So if you can apply enough pressure, you can create enough pain, and Michael's going to stand up. Good luck with that.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, it's painful. It hurts.
It
And I
hurts.
tell people all the time, if you push me to my limit that my arm will go, I will have to stand up.
Yes.
What I believe has happened prior to that encapsulation, membrane, whatever, bone lock, whatever you want to call it, I believe our tendons, our ligaments, our muscles have gotten very, very strong to protect our dumbasses from
getting
further
to that
injury.
point.
They're like, these guys won't listen, so we're going to get really strong before we get to that risk of injury again. And that's where our strength lies. That's where the stop lies. That's where the connection is. Once you push past that point, now you're into the pain area, the bone, the encapsulated membrane, whatever it is, and that's when you see us let up. Because I'm like, that's too much.
So Gilbert Rules, thank you so much for the super chat. Bob, can you make a rule to foul all haters crying about the Kings move because they're scared of getting beat by it?
Yes,
that'd be
we can make that
funniest
rule. Good luck getting that enforced.
I love that.
Yes.
On that note, making such a rule would be amazing.
Yes.
But I want to know, did you really believe Devin's troll video of PAL?
How good was that video?
That LaVon does not think he can beat the Kings move and he refuses to arm wrestling until he's trained by skinny Canadian Devin Larrett to
I
beat me.
saw this video where you all seen it, and it got me. I thought it was real. I'm like, am I really reading this? And I shared it thinking, did they really just say this? I totally bought it. And then I was talking to Devin later, and he's like, no, it was all bullcrap. And I'm like, son of a gun. So yeah, you got me on that.
Dude, it was hilarious. That was one of the,
you got me
I'm
on
telling
that
you,
one
I
for
give Devin props for that.
Yes,
We
yeah.
just let that stand
Dude,
alone.
I couldn't even come back with anything.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, from a social media content basis, funny making videos, Devin Larrett is number one.
Oh, he's great.
And there's no second place. Those guys up there make the best. That one where they had him in those zoot suits and the fancy old time 50s hats, that was the greatest thing I ever watched.
Well, see, they were doing this back before YouTube. Remember they were doing all the different videos?
On Venmo, or not Venmo, what was that called? The V, start with the V.
I don't remember
I
what
don't
it was,
know.
but
It was-
I just know they used to put out some hilarious content.
it
So
was
they
good.
have been doing this before it was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because they
No.
just have fun up there.
Yeah,
But yeah, so
it's some good
we
stuff.
that was a very, very good job of subtitles by Devin, whoever did it for Devin,
Right.
but that was awesome because
Yes.
I mean,
And Anthony Bowman, thank you so much for the super chat. And we're excited about the 29th as well. And the Tommy Acevedo, 123. What is the difference between your King's move and Devin's? Also, in your opinion, what is the best way to counter your King's move? If you
Devin-
answered that part, I am knocking you out.
I'll answer. No, I won't.
He is so good about giving his competitors advice.
LaVon could not believe it. He goes, "Is he telling me the truth? Is this how I beat him?" Like Rebecca's like, "Yeah." He's
I
telling
can
me,
tell
yeah."
you the difference between Devin's King's move. Devin's arm goes, like what we just showed you, Devin's arm goes quite a bit straighter than ours. So in order for Devin to pull off a King's move, legally, he can't. Watch every time Devin has dropped down into a King's move, and his shoulder, well, let me take that back.
According to WAL, he's
In WAL, he's good because his entire shoulder is not going below the table. If he was in WAF, he'd be getting cautioned and fouled. It's the degree in which the arm goes straight or not goes straight.
You got 2 more to read, and then I got to ask a question.
Wild Frames, Devin versus Chafee opinions. Arm fully extended all the time and shoulder below the pad line. I think you just answered that. In WAF.
The entire shoulder was not.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And then DCS Beamer, thank you so much. Have to drop off, unfortunately, but thanks for the awesome stream. Very insightful.
Thank you so
Come
much
back
for the
and
super
finish
chat.
watching
We appreciate
here
it. So
later.
here's a question for you,
Vimeo,
Bob.
that's what it was. Thank you so much.
In your opinion, if the match would have played out exactly like it did at 504 with Dave and Devin under the WAF banner, PAL banner, any of those rule formats, would Devin have won the match?
Never. He wouldn't have won a match.
Okay, and if WL 503, my match against Dave, would have taken place in any of those rule formats, would I have still won the match?
Yes, you'd have won a match. Yep, you'd have won.
Dun, dun, dun.
But that's what you were impressed about, though, because
I was impressed that you took his hand in the center of the table.
yeah, and that's what I trained for.
If you would have busted his hand over here, I would not have been as impressed as busting his hand right here. It's like the time you pulled John Brzezinski. I was way more impressed with the second match where you just dove in on a hook and banged with John for quite a long time before John eventually pinned you, which was controversial. Some people say it wasn't a pin, other people say it was a pin. I believe it was a pin. And that was way more impressive to me when you came inside.
I had no other option.
Yeah.
2 minutes of Jerry Caderet landing my arm prior
Yes.
to that. Because, and let me tell you, if you go and watch that match, the very first start, I would have beaten John. But he elbow fouls about an inch or two off the front, up in the air, and it's supposed to be a running foul system.
Right.
And they stop it.
And Bill Collins stops the match.
Right.
Well, now,
Excuse me.
go watch it.
What?
Go watch it.
You're talking
So-
about John now,
yeah,
right?
I know, me and
You know I
John-
trained with him for 20
John's
years,
awesome.
right?
John's awesome.
You know I'm going to go with John, right?
But that was John's first experience filming.
Right.
So he was in a compromised position.
Yeah.
And when I said you can't pin that arm, that match, he was not pinning my arm.
Right.
The restart, when he had a different attack,
Right.
I was screwed.
Yeah.
And he did everything. I mean, and still his wrist still gets compromised. He knew the only out he had was a press, but he pressed with enough pressure to put me in that spot where I had to stand up. So 2 minutes with Jerry Caderet, boom, then John, and then the restart. I know a King's move not working.
Yeah.
So I'm banging with a shoulder press, loose, low, nothing, hit as hard as I possibly can, bam. And when the controversial pin is called, whether I felt like it was, and there is what happens is I dip. Because I'm in that spot. Now, if you look at my arm, it's multiple colors.
Yep.
Because I'm putting max effort on that bone. But I'm in it, and I feel that down pressure on my elbow, that surge coming back, it's there. Like, I'm feeling fading in John's arm, and I feel like I'm about to pull through it. And either I dump below, or it's an early call, pin, whatever. And that's where the frustration lied with me, because I was like, oh my God, I was just about to come back, you know.
My response to that explanation is simply this: W or L. John gets the W. Michael got the L.
I did get the L.
And you accepted it.
I
And
did
he
accept
accepted
it.
it. He did.
Let me tell you at what point I did accept it. And this is where it cost me potentially
You're moving out of the camera. You need to move
Look,
back.
you gotta-
potentially cost me $9,000 because it's $10,000 at first, $1,000 for second. At that moment, it was just probably a pride thing for me because I had such reverence for John Brzezinski. I looked across the table. I said,
Pride
"Fresh
goes
for
before the
fresh,
fall.
right now, can you beat me?" He said, "No chance in hell could I beat you fresh." And I'm like, "Fucking keep the money." And
I was like, what?
They were restarting the match.
What?
I had argued enough that they were going to restart the match. They're like, we're gonna run it again. And at that point, when he said no, I was like,
That's all I need.
that's it. I
Have
mean,
a nice day.
so that was it for me. But like I said, it's because I had such reverence for John Brzezinski. I mean,
Yeah.
people ask me all the time, Devin's the greatest. No, Devin's the most popular.
Yes.
John Brzezinski is without question the greatest arm wrestler of all
Without
time.
question.
And it's not, I may have a different opinion than Bob. I don't think the best version of John Brzezinski beats the best version of every arm wrestler that's ever lived. I just think his legacy will never be surpassed. No one will ever duplicate what John did.
Right.
I believe arm wrestlers have existed since John Brzezinski, who, if the best John was there and the best them were there, John would not be the victor.
Right.
But that does not negate how amazing John Brzezinski is.
Right. If you
we are in the land of giants now.
Right.
There are people out here now that do this sport
that are 300 plus pounds.
Yeah.
You know, all the time.
And then there were those guys. There was, Cleve Dean. There was Richard Lupke's. But the level of arm wrestling skill has advanced significantly.
So
Go ahead.
Yes.
Dr. Homunculus. Okay, I don't really understand this question, but maybe you guys will. Thank you so much for the super chat. Devin asked if Kings equals giving up everything for pure pronation. Seems like you thought he was wrong about this, but didn't overly correct him. Explain.
What Devin was stating was in Ingen's match against Makarev is he held on to all the conventional aspects of arm wrestling, where if he would have given up his cup, his riser, and just committed to pronation, he would have been able to hang Makarev up and take away, because Makarev was countering conventional arm wrestling very well. If he would have just had all that pressure into his cup, into his pronation, the match could have turned out differently. I don't want to give up riser in a match unless it's
right.
But it all comes down to this: whatever it takes to win.
Right.
If I get those areas of my game beat, I'm gonna hold on to whatever the last ditch effort I have, and if that's pronation and being all the way out, then that's where I'm staying.
Yep.
And I'm going to add to this too. But first off, thank you so much, AK, for the super chat. Thank you for your
Appreciate
support.
the
So when people are calling it the desperation move, and I loved hearing Devin break this down, because every move on the table, other than you got me, this one, is a desperation move, because you should be desperate to win. That's how much it should mean to you when you put your arm on the table. Otherwise, what the hell are you doing it for? That shit hurts. It don't feel good. And it leaves you crippled for life. So why are you even putting your arm on the table if you're not at minimum desperate to get that win? Just my 2 cents.
And it's a very good take. What he said made tons of sense. See, I've always said it's liars or losers. Either you are lying to say that you would not do a King's move to win a match, or by definition, you are a loser. Because you're choosing to lose, then use whatever is within your rule set that you can do.
I can tell you.
But being desperate, a flopped wrist is desperate. If you've been cracked, you're desperate as shit.
You're
to get
desperate.
that,
You're desperate to come the direction.
And you need to be in a match. But go ahead.
In Devin Lorette's mind, and we've had great discussion about this. In Devin Lorette, arm wrestling is war. That's why he loves freedom arm wrestling so much. He wants to be able to move anywhere on the table he can, do whatever he can, whatever it takes to pin the person's arm. So his philosophy starts from that mindset. It starts from a war mindset. Agree with it or disagree with it, that's another story. But that's where his mindset starts. Okay? And my mindset starts is it's a sport that has certain rules, and you have to abide within those rules. Now, if you don't like the rule, that's fine. You can change a rule. You can not change a rule. And as far as the King's move and the desperation move and all that is, I completely agree with Ingen that if that shoulder drops down, you shouldn't be allowed to do that. Because when I was 8 years old and arm wrestled my dad,
in the neutral to losing,
you went like this, okay? This is arm wrestling. Right here. That's arm wrestling. When you start doing all this other crazy stuff, that's not what we did as kids. But the rule evolved. The sport evolved. Top rolling used to be frowned upon. It used to be against the rules.
how about strap pulling?
Strap pulling, we used to have to just force yourself into a hook. All these things came, and those things, I think, improved the sport. When the shoulders started going below the tables, and competitors' arms started to go straight, in my opinion, we moved far enough away from what we did as a kid that I think there should be a rule against that.
And there are now.
And there are now. If I wrote it my way, humerus bone at a downward angle in a neutral or losing position is an immediate foul. In a WAL, I think it should be a warning.
But again, that's taking rules that do not apply yet.
No, that's my opinion.
For all of you who ask, well, Michael Todd would not win a match if the rules change. The rules have changed. He keeps winning.
And he keeps winning.
Sorry, got your luck.
So did I invent the King's move?
No.
No, he did not.
Yeah, so it's been around
No.
forever.
Been
Mike
around.
Selliers did to me in 2004 at the GNC Show
Yeah.
of Strength and went horrible because Mike Selliers' arms go completely straight, as straight as you could possibly do.
Yes.
Because I was in a bent wrist press and I was about to pin him, so he just got crazy desperate, all the way stretched
Yep.
out.
So
And
y'all
then
were
I-
having a Jerry versus Michael match.
Way worse. And then I came back up and I looked up because he had given up everything. When I came back to center and climbed, I actually had top rolled Selliers, and I look out of the crowd and I'm like, oh my God, I got this dude top rolled.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Nick Smith, how is your strength gains right now with your training in your gym versus when you were in Dubai with Larry?
I came
Thank you
home
so
and I
much for
broke
super
my
chat.
PR on my single pulley. 275 was my best ever, and I did 279 and a half for a double.
AK, hey, come to India, Michael and Devin. We would love to. Thank you so much for the super chat. Matt Simmons, where you going, buddy? Ah, you dick. LOL. LOL. Okay, I'll take back the dick. You bet your best match lies with Devin. I truly believe Levon couldn't go rounds with you. Good luck, MMT. And Chris Gammo. Hey, Chris.
What's up, Chris?
Gave you a shout out at the beginning. Again, guys, that's the guide for the hookup. And the link is in the description. The effort that Todd's put into this sport is amazing. Best tag team in arm wrestling, LOL. Bringing in Bob to shed light where it's needed. Question. Who will be there to ref the match for Devin? We cannot announce that yet, but I think you guys will be very pleased.
It's someone Devin and I both agree on.
I would ref it myself.
I know you would.
I would do it, and
That would
I would
actually be fun.
totally impartial. Because the reality is I have my opinion of who I think is going to win the match. But if I had to go over there and be in someone's corner, I just couldn't. I'd have to sit back, grab a beer, have some popcorn, and watch the show because I could not pick. I wouldn't be in either one of them's corner.
I do believe that room is going to be a very exclusive room to be in because I believe it's just
because of
pay-per-view.
COVID, it may be a
Gotcha.
very empty room.
Yeah, I
Gotcha.
think it's
In
just going
Dubai.
to be. But,
Right.
Well, there won't be tickets sold from what I understand.
Right.
So to be in that room live is going to be pretty spectacular. You know.
Awesome.
Ryzen Ability. Oh, I like that name. Ryzen Ability. How
There
about
you
that, baby? Thank you so much for the super chat. I don't have much to give, but wanted to say thank you. Videos have made this last year a little bit better.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for the super
Yes.
chat. We
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
that. So on that previous question, a few questions back, how do you think the Levon match would go? Me and my best, Levon coming in at his best. How do you see that match?
To all the Eastern Bloc people who are about to be pissed off at me, Michael would win 6-0 because the key, or one of the benefits,
Just to straighten this out,
Yeah.
you do compete with Europeans, right? You do see Europeans on
I
the
see them
regular.
all the time.
There we go.
When I go to the World Championships again,
Okay.
you know, yeah, I've traveled the world many, many times. I know many, many people in the European. Anyway, one of the difficulties of the way Michael arm wrestled is when going against someone with a taller arm. If you don't have a taller arm than Michael, I understand how strong Levon is. I truly do. If you do not have a taller arm than Michael, you're going to have problems. You're going to have a lot of problems. And I don't think Levon's arm is taller than Michael's. I would think someone like,
Vitaly.
Letten.
thank you, Vitaly Letten would have a much better chance against Michael. That match, Michael might lose the first round. He might lose the second round, but I think his endurance starts to play into the game and he comes back and he wins. That's why the Devin Lorette match. Devin, I think, is potentially Michael's kryptonite. He's got the tall arm, he's got the endurance, and he knows exactly how to beat it. Now, whether he does or not, we're going to find out. But as far as Levon is concerned, I think he beats Levon 6-0 because he does to him what he did to Dave Chafee. He takes Levon's hand right at the top of the match. And there will be a war to end all wars. And I think Michael wins that war. And then Levon is fried and Michael's just getting warmed up.
I mean, I didn't know exactly how you were going to answer that. The 6-0 is how I think it's going to go.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely, people are like, oh, Michael's going to round one, round two. I mean, I don't think I'm getting flashed.
Right.
I think I'm stopping the match. And because it will be his first time ever facing me, he will feel that there's an opportunity to pin me. and he will go after that opportunity, and he will just get deeper and deeper into the trap.
Right.
And he will
and
bleed like crazy, and before you know it.
And my statement on that is barring no silly elbow fouls, because there might be elbow foul. I don't know what rules are going to arm wrestle, when they arm wrestle, if they arm wrestle, what rules and things like that. But I'm just assuming straight arm wrestling, no fouls and stuff.
So before you do the super chat, I am not taking the easy way out by pulling Devin instead of Levon.
No, I think that match was taken away from you. That's the match you wanted.
Oh, 100% wanted that match.
That's what you wanted.
But it just, people think, oh, Devin. I'm like, Devin, okay, he's been released from his doctor. He just pulled this last weekend. He looked impressive. He has 11 weeks to prepare. I believe we'll see the strongest Devin Laird that's ever showed up. And I think he, because of his experience against me, and not just me growing up around Crazy George and knowing the fundamentals of the kingsmove, he is my greatest threat.
Mean Machine Arm Wrestling, thank you so much for the super chat. Ingen as referee.
I will bust that ass though, 3-0.
LOL, when
you know how that's
y'all
gonna go.
come into Indiana. I would love to come to Indiana. It's not going to be on this trip, unfortunately. This guy.
I have overbooked us so bad. We would like to just hang out here with Bob and Tracy. This would be awesome.
Absolutely. I would love
I
to
have
get this
done
out,
way
of course.
too much.
And-
I tried to get too much in one trip.
And by the way, we've already gone way over what I said we wanted this live stream to be. So, guys, I also want to remind you to be sure and hit that subscribe and click that bell for notifications so you can be notified when we go live, because there is a live stream that's going to be coming up Friday night, most likely. Could
Most
be
likely
Saturday
Friday night.
morning.
Could be one of
That
the
you
two.
don't want to miss.
It will be good
Putting
stuff.
it out there.
Good stuff.
So be sure that you've done that before you get away from this stream and go on and forget about what you're doing. And also be sure that you have requested Bob Brown Arm Wrestling and let him accept you so that you can be informed of the rules very well. And the guy that writes the rules very well in video format so that he can actually show you. The one that I'm looking forward to him doing and repeating for you guys is angles on camera. Alrighty?
I did just glance down, saw a comment, Trubin versus me, 6-0. You guys are crazy.
There was never a Trubin
You are
versus Michael 6-0.
crazy. No one beats me 6-0.
No, nobody
And
does.
I love Trubin.
Not in
He's
over a
an
decade.
awesome guy. But I have evolved significantly since pulling Trubin previously.
What was the result when you pulled Trooper?
He beat me 4-2 in
Okay.
2016. And on that day, I was supposed to pull Andre Pushkar.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't
Right.
matter.
He beat
Shut
you
up.
4-2.
That was in Vegas, right?
Yeah, Andre
See,
got injured, and
that-
I think I would have beat Andre because I was strong.
Right.
But I was not as technically sound to beat Trubin.
Right,
Two
and
different-
I agree with that, because Andre is not of a technical arm wrestler as Trubin is. Trubin is technically a better arm wrestler than Andre. Andre was stronger.
Right.
And that just goes to show that I was there. I was at that match, and I just kind of forgot that.
Yeah, so he beat me 4-2. Then I beat him the next year at the Arnold Classic.
You did.
But yeah, so Trubin is an amazing arm wrestler, very skilled. I just think in the last several years I have leveled up significantly, and I believe that's because of Corey West.
Awesome.
Yeah, but someone was like, well, Trubin beat you, and then somebody else, or Levon beat Trubin. Well, we can also remember Michael beat Dave Chafee 3-0, and Dave Chafee beat Trubin, what?
4-0, would have been 6-0. Trubin had to withdraw due to injury. So
That's the new and improved
they
Michael.
beat Trubin.
If you're making
and then after
parallels,
that,
go ahead and
beat
write it on
Dave.
out.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's very simple to go back and look at. Timeline skews people sometimes. So go on
Yes.
YouTube, they'll see a video, they don't realize how recent that video is or not. But, you know, that's it. Styles make matches, but there's also the arm wrestler improving and evolving. So.
Mario Gonzalez, thank you so much for the super chat. Is there any possibility we'll see Matt Mask versus Hermes in the undercard? We don't know. We're not in control of that. And
I think we mentioned something.
also, when will we see you train with Jerry, the gingerbread man?
It is on the books. He is not. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and let it out. I do have the top North American arm wrestlers coming down to the Monster Factory to prepare me to destroy.
Because when there
Devin Laird.
comes a point, we won't be leaving the factory.
No,
anymore.
yeah,
You
it's-
just got to stay there and train.
I do have a couple more collabs to do this coming up month, but it is everything
Weekend.
is focused on. No, this coming up because we're going to the Timber Fallers, all that stuff.
But it's the weekend.
Oh yeah.
Collabs.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Everything is. I am putting the most focus on this match of any of my career because I believe the opportunity that we have in front of us right now for exposure is my greatest opportunity ever. So, and there's a lot for me. If I would have pulled Levon, I don't really have any risk whatsoever because I'm not expected to win.
Win or lose, it wouldn't matter,
Yeah,
right?
I'm pulling Devin Laird when I am globally recognized as the best arm wrestler in North America. I have that on the line. So I'm actually taking this match more serious than it was the LeBron match.
Someone
because
actually asked
I have
that.
a greater risk.
Right.
The reward is not as great for me.
No.
The risk is significant.
Right.
So you don't want to back me in a corner.
And he's in the corner.
So
He's gonna come out fighting y'all. He's ready. So thank you all again for hanging around. Check out the description because there you will find links to everything Monster Michael Todd and also our great sponsors, one of them being Primal Beef. You have kept this woman and this guy fed on this trip when there was no food around. Thank you so much, Primal Beef Jerky. Go into our
Chris
description.
Gammo, CampbellCars.com. Appreciate everyone. All the descriptions will be in the link below. Don't forget to subscribe. Click the bell for notifications.
Follow this guy.
Go check out Bob Brown Arm Wrestling.
And
thank you so much for the
On
hospitality.
Facebook.
We are about to go ride razors in the desert.
Yes, we are. Look for that video coming out soon. Wednesday we will start dropping the collab videos with
Big
Boy, okay?
And crew.
Because that was awesome.
Good
You
times.
guys
All right.
loved hanging out with you. Look forward to chatting again soon.